topic. It's been a topic on the news. Governor Pritzker came out, but let's start the show. Attorney Stephen Leahy. I'm your host. I'm Attorney Stephen Leahy. This is our episode today, starting right 6 o'clock, right on the dot today. So, but I wanted to talk about the landlords and how they can get paid. Because what's going on, right, is that there's been lots of programs for people who haven't been able to pay their rent because of some sort of because of COVID. You know, all these companies shut down. A lot of employees aren't working. They can't pay their rent. But who's also suffering? Well, the landlord, right? Because not only are they not paying their rent, but the government came out and put up moratoriums on evictions. Also on foreclosures. So if you're not paying your mortgage, if you're not paying your rent as a landlord, I have nowhere to turn. I can't go to court and have you evicted. You can't evict people, what they call self-help. That's illegal, so you can't do that. So what's a landlord to do? Okay, so, and I know there's a lot of bad blood now between some landlords and their tenants about what can happen. But a lot of that bad blood would go away if the tenants would pay up, right? What's going to happen is at the end of all this, the moratorium will go, the landlord will take action, will evict the tenant still won't have any place to go, and then the hard part of any eviction, collecting on the judgment. So you might get a judgment against your tenant, but if that number's grown so much over the last year, they may turn to bankruptcy. And if they turn to bankruptcy, well, you're never going to get paid. If you're going to evict them, as a landlord, it takes time and money to evict somebody. And so it's a very difficult spot for landlords. So there is some good news. As we know that there's been trillions of dollars going through Washington to the states. And some of that money, at least here in Illinois, $1.5 billion is going to be made available to tenants through this program, which Governor Pritzker announced yesterday. The big headline was evictions. The moratorium on evictions is going to be lengthened till August. It was supposed to stop at the end of May or the end of June, and so now they've said no, we're going to go into August before any of these evictions can begin. But to offset that eviction problem is this program for $1.5 billion. So let's just look at the news here. It says Governor J.B. Pritzker said Monday he will be phasing out the statewide moratorium on evictions by August, as he announced the launch of a $1.5 billion rental relief program for Illinois. We will work with our partners to bring an end to the eviction moratorium in August, with a gradual phase out over the next few months, with more details to come, Pritzker said. Repeated executive orders issued by the governor during pandemic have banned virtually all evictions in Illinois since March of 2020. The announcement of the eventual end to the eviction moratorium came as he signed state legislation to distribute the $1.5 billion in rental relief funds. The measure also would seal eviction court records between March 2020 and March 2022 to help renters who are evicted find a new place to live. So you won't be able to find out if your new tenant is being evicted, right? Has been evicted if they paid their rent. So they're not going to let you know that information as a landlord. So it's kind of like, take a risk. So that's the Illinois Rental Assistance Program is a testament to how good government can make a life-changing difference for people. Well, it will make a life-changing difference for the landlord also, right? So it's not only the tenant who's not going to be stuck with this mortgage, this rent. Now, one of the things about this program is it's for 15 months. So it's the last year plus 3 months moving forward, totaling up to $25,000. Now, here's something else that a lot of people don't understand is that this program is also it's going to take the landlord and the tenant to work together to get this money, okay? Because it's both parties have to work together. The good news is that as a landlord, you don't have to wait for your tenant to take the initiative, right? You could take the initiative. You could go and start this process yourself, and then kind of ask your tenants to go along with you. And of course, there's going to be a big benefit to them only in that they're not going to be facing any eviction, and they're not going to be facing any lawsuits for the back rent. Although any checks that are written, they're not going to go to the tenant. Though all those checks are going to be written and going to the landlord, so that it's going to help the landlord. And again, the landlord is the one that's been strapped, with the mortgages. Now, there have been mortgage forbearance agreements and all this, mostly for residential property and not for rental property or investment property. But there have been some people with rental properties because, again, if I'm a mortgage company and I have a client who's not paying his mortgage because it's a rental property and the renters aren't paying him, I might allow them to go into a forbearance agreement on this mortgage, right? So now those mortgage forbearance agreements are going to come to an end. If the landlord can get this check for the last 12 months, he can make the lump sum payment on the forbearance agreement and reinstate his mortgage and start like nothing's happened, start making the payments again. Okay, without that money, probably not going to happen. He's going to have to either get a loan modification or he's going to lose the property to foreclosure. And that's just the cold, hard facts. So here, if you go to Illinois Housing Development Authority, and I'm just going to read this because I think it's interesting. Welcome to the State of Illinois Rental Payment Program application. It's an emergency rental assistance program designed to support households that are unable to pay rent due to COVID-19 pandemic. Eligible households may receive up to 15 months of assistance. The coverage period is June 2020 through August 2021, and that's why they moved the eviction moratorium into August. That they're going to provide the money up until then to reinstate your mortgage. So your rent. So if you're behind, if you could you got enough time now to apply for this money, get the money, reinstate. Pay the back rent, and you won't be facing eviction in August. Generally speaking, for a household to be eligible, they must have experience of financial hardship, be behind on their rent, and under the income limit. Well, if you're behind in your rent because of the pandemic and you haven't been working, and that's why you haven't paid your rent, well, you're probably going to make that income threshold also. If you are if you are unsure of your household's income, you can still apply, and they're really talking to the landlord because the landlord doesn't know what kind of income they have. The landlord is going to assume that the tenant can't pay because of COVID, even though we know that there's some people out there that could have paid and decided to take advantage of the moratorium and did not pay. Again, these types of people, they're going to be facing lawsuits. And I think there's going to be a lot of, no matter what happens here in this program, there's going to be some lawsuits and some evictions when all this is said and done. The application process begins with you, the landlord. After completing your sections, your tenant will receive an email with instructions on how to complete their section. An application will not be considered complete until both parties, landlord and tenant, submit their information. Please note the tenant will not be able to see your personal financial information. Well, that's a good thing, right? But this is so again, it's going to be initiated by the landlord And one of the reasons why I've spoken with here at Lake County, I'm in Lake County now, and in Lake County board here, they had a program in place for the tenant to to apply for funds. Well, the problem has been many of the tenants haven't applied. And so all this money is there for them, and this is a different program. This is in addition to the Illinois State program of $1.5 billion. The county of Lake County, and I'm assuming many other counties. I think that DuPage County has a program like this. I know Cook County has a program like this, and wherever you're from, call your county. I suspect that there's a program like this for you as a landlord. Here in Lake County, they changed the rules and let the landlord initiate this process. They've been initially only the tenant could initiate this process, and they didn't have a lot of takers. But again, a lot of these benefits, the tenant doesn't see, well, that's not for me. All this money is going to go to my landlord, and that doesn't really help me. But it does help you. And again, now the landlord can take this action, can go and get this money refunded to them for this last year. Maybe they needed to catch up on their mortgage. And but these are important programs. Again, wherever you are on government spending, this money has been allocated. It's out there. So take action. Get out and get this money for your tenants on their behalf to pay your rent. I mean, the rent that's due you. Okay, that just makes sense. Okay, so these programs are out there. Let me see what else I have here. Again, this is the landlords and property owners. Do you have questions? Now, I wanted to bring this up because this is in Lake County, and Lake County has an initiative coming this coming Saturday, May 22nd. They're going to have people on board here at Highway 45 in Grays Lake. So on Saturday between 11 and 1, they're going to have staff there for landlords to answer questions about how this program works. Does my tenant qualify? How do I apply? When will I get paid? That's the big question everybody wants to know the answer to. When am I going to get the money? Because that's, everybody's panicked about this. It's coming to an end. The forbearance agreements are coming to an end. All of these eviction foreclosure processes, moratoriums, they're coming to an end. And so people are going to be forced to take some action. So if it's going to take me 3 or 4 months to get the money, that's not going to be very helpful. So I think this money is going to be doled out fairly quickly. And how much will they get? How long will it take? How will this affect my rights as a landlord? Okay, so if I've paid, I probably won't be able to evict them, even though they haven't paid all year. Now it's current, I probably won't be able to evict them because of the past due rent. But do I really want to get rid of them? If they've been a good tenant and it's been COVID that's caused these problems, you probably want to keep them on as a tenant. If their rent is current and they're good and they were good tenants, I don't see why you wouldn't keep them. But anyway, I wanted to bring this to your attention on that on Saturday. There's going to be this in Lake County now. This is going to be in Lake County where you can go out and talk to people who can help you fill out this information. Now, many landlords they can fill out the forms and everything. They're quite adept at knowing how to go about these processes. But anytime you can get help from those in government to help you move this along is helpful. Okay, so anyway, that's where I am on this. It's a important. These are important programs about trying to come out of this COVID problem that we have, right? And a lot of these, now that we all feel like COVID's coming to an end, people aren't wearing masks as much anymore. It just feels there's more. The stores are fuller. There's cars on the road. Right? I remember, March, April, May last year. I went downtown every day, and there was nobody on the road. I was almost down there by myself, and I have pictures of myself at the metro station at Michigan Avenue and Randolph, and I was the only one in the whole metro station at 11 o'clock on a Monday morning. Unheard of. Never thought that would happen, but it did happen. Okay, so but again, now things are getting better. We all have to start making plans. How am I going to recover from this COVID pandemic? Not only mentally, but financially. There's been a lot of financial hardship. How am I going to recover? And that's what I'm helping people plan, how to recover from this COVID financial hardships. So that's what these next couple weeks on this show, that's what we're going to address. How can we make a difference? How can I help you overcome this problem? One of the things that I'm doing is I'm answering questions for people about these processes. I know a lot about mortgage foreclosures. I've helped a lot of people in mortgage foreclosures. I've done a lot of loan modifications. I've helped people file bankruptcy when they're having problems with their creditors. I've helped a lot of people solve their IRS problems, their state of Illinois tax problems, and other creditor problems. That's what I do. I help a lot of people do this. Now, we're at a time when people don't have the funds. So I'm coming up with a program to help people answer their questions for free, right? How do you get advice from an attorney about how to plan, how to do this for free? Okay, so we're coming up with this program. I'm going to talk a little bit more about it. I'm going to talk more about it on Saturday. On Saturday, I'm on Home Sweet Home Chicago. That's David Hochberg's Home Sweet Home Chicago on Saturday at 10 a.m. on WGN Radio, 720 a.m. So you can join us there. It's a great show. David's a great guy. Knows if you need a question about mortgages or how this all works, that's the guy you want to talk to. You want to talk to David Hochberg. We're going to there's other guests on the show. I believe Rose Pest Solutions is on the show. Our friend Janelle Iacchino. So join us on that show at 10 o'clock this Saturday morning at 10 o'clock on AM 720 WGN. We all know and love WGN Radio. It's a powerhouse, and I'll be on there for the whole 3 hours answering your questions. So if you have questions, that's where we're going to begin, right? I'm going to give you some more information over the next couple of days about where you can go, where you can call me and ask questions, because I can't take all these phone calls. There's too many phone calls, but we can get together like this and I can have a live question and answer where I'll answer all of your questions for free. Okay, I'm not trying to sell you anything. I don't want anything from you. I want to help you recover from this COVID pandemic and your financial woes. That's what I know how to do. That's what I can help you do. And that's what I want to do. Okay, so join me again here every night at 6 o'clock. We're going to do the podcast every night at 6 o'clock. I'm going to be on David Hochberg's show on Saturday at 10, 720, AM 720, WGN Radio. I'm going to on Friday at 2 o'clock, we're going to have our regular watchtalkradio.com. That's the website that you can go to whenever I'm live on a program. That's where you can find me, on watchtalkradio.com. And on Friday afternoon, between 2 and 5, we do my radio shows, the IRS Radio Hour and the Trust Radio Network, which are heard the Trust Radio Network is on Friday. It's Saturday at 7 p.m. The Trust Radio Network on AM 560, The Answer. The IRS Radio Hour is heard The IRS Radio Hour is heard every Sunday at 5 on AM 560, The Answer. So if you have any problems or questions, and I'm sure you do, then you can call me there. I'll be happy to answer the questions for you. Okay. Anyway, anything I can do to help you, I certainly will. So we're going to close the show out for tonight. If you have questions, you can always give me a call at 312-664-6649. Again, that number is 312-664-6649. But we're gonna be so again, if you have any questions, give me a call. Okay, thank you. And we're gonna start this.